with 2 members of the victorious TSM.
Thank you very much, Raven. Great cast in the day to you and the rest of the guys up on the desk. I'm here with the very victorious Wild Turtle and Bjergsen. Awesome series, first of all. Turtle, I'll start with you. Coming into this matchup, okay, you got a really good quarterfinal win, but here's Team Liquid, who were the #1 team in the regular season. What were your expectations coming into this match?
We knew it was going to be pretty close, but we were practicing pretty hard coming into this. Like, we were getting pretty good skim results, and we knew what we had to do, and we had a clear objective. And I just think overall we were pretty confident going into this match.
So then after the first 2-0, of course, it looked pretty good for you guys. As these guys started firing back in Game 3, you know, TL have a big history of reverse sweeps in the playoffs, so usually on the receiving end. Did it start to concern you that suddenly they were figuring you guys out and they had a plan coming in?
I think it's just because that third game we were going for more of a mid-game, like flank pig-based comp instead of just these like hard team fighting, really good scaling kind of comp. So that's what we went back to, and we were like, all right, guys, we tried something different. It didn't work out. We're going to revert to that other style, and we got that last one.
I should press you on that real quick because you were still playing support mid laner. Gnar is sort of mid-tier damage up-wise. It was kind of all on Turtle. In the commentators were saying kind of that TL would outscale you via the late game. Do you believe in that, or are you still like really happy with your team come late game?
Lily and Jinx are just like really good late game combos. Like Twitch has like an ult which only lasts for like 8 seconds, and then once that's gone, like they lose like a lot of damage after that's gone because Victor can't kill me with the Lulu shield. So overall, we just had a lot of consistent damage for late game.
All right, of course, you guys did a great job here. So talk to me about this now. Coming into the finals for like the millionth time in a row now, TSM continue to be at least top 2. Were you ever concerned that it wasn't going to be that? You guys had a really lackluster sort of end of the regular split. Was this how worried were you that it was going to be a split? TSM failed to reach the finals.
I don't know. Like if I never like had that in the back of my mind that we wouldn't play like very well. I just always thought we would come back up in playoffs and start playing really well again. That's about it.
Bjergsen, anything to add on that one?
I think just in the regular season when we started playing worse, we were all a little worried, like, how are we going to pick ourselves back up? How are we going to do well? We all know that we have the potential to like beat Liquid, beat Gravity, and potentially beat CLG, but we just needed to find out what we needed to do. And after Andy coming in and helping us with coaching, we really found what we need to work on, how we're going to work on it, and what we need to do to win playoffs, essentially.
It looks like guys are doing really well in playoffs. So final question for you guys here. You mentioned it really briefly. TSM versus CLG in the North American final. It's like we're all the way back to 2012. I know you guys newer to the roster than that, but the biggest rivalry in North American League of Legends. Here it is, Madison Square Garden, TSM's hometown and away. How much does this match mean to you guys?
For me, I guess it means a lot. Like playing against CLG, and I really want to beat them because I don't know, because everyone else wants to beat them, and then yeah.
Turtle actually said backstage that double sucks.
Is that true?
I cannot confirm.
Will there be a trash talk video for you and CLG just like with Team Liquid?
Yeah, for sure.
I think if CLG wants to, we're challenging them.
All right, CLG called out for a trash talk video. You guys better live up to this one. I'm going to see if you guys can do it. We're going to send it back to the cast desk for now, though. Break it away.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Trash talk challenge.
I'm looking forward to the trash talk because Turtle's trash talk is usually
trash talk challenge. I got it. TSM has to make the event because last time we had an event in New York, they lived in New York and we're still 2 hours late. There's my trash talk for it. But absolutely amazing game by them. They deserve no trash after this one. Madison Square Garden is going to be very big. It's pretty much been what teams have aspired for coming into this season. They're looking at Madison Square Garden and then pretty much Worlds because that's just how big it is to them.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the best finals ever for North American LCS. The first time CLG has ever been in a final, trying to stop TSM's 2 consecutive split titles as well, both fighting for that #1 seed in North America. That's going to be pretty high. Pretty good.
We'll see. I'll say, so once again, we're going to go ahead and set it down to Freak as he is ready for more on Team Liquid's Day on the Rift.
Thank you very much, Rivington. Yeah, I'm here with I Will Dominate, and I know it wasn't what you wanted coming into the series with a loss to TSM, but you have 2 chances now to make it to Worlds anyway. You win the 3rd place match, TSM wins the final, you have the most circuit points. Even if that doesn't happen, you're pretty much guaranteed to be in the final of the circuit itself, and you can win a best of 5 there at the very end. So what's it going to be like getting ready now to make sure you make that trip to Worlds?
I think mainly we just have to clean up our mid game a little bit. In all these games, I think we might have got first blood all the games. If we didn't, we had early advantages, especially in game 1 and game 2. And we were just not able to adapt to their rotations fast enough. They were rotating at times that sometimes were really good and sometimes they did poor rotations, but we weren't reacting appropriately, which made like each one of their rotations give them something. Like they would either be able to dodge the lane or they'd be able to like get out of situations that they didn't want to be in. So I think we just need to get better at that. Just be able to read the rotations faster and either be able to match it or just act on an objective even quicker. So I guess from this series, it just showed that our early game is still really strong. But if we just get a little bit quicker on realizing what's happening in the game and reading people's map movements, I think we can be really strong.
So talk to me about how you were adapting throughout the series then, because you had 4 games, try to do something else, pick different champions, play it differently. You identify stuff now, but how are you trying to grow between each game to try to adapt the TSM?
So first game, we just came out with like a Juggernaut style comp. They banned Janna all the games, which we didn't exactly respect, but we didn't expect. But I don't think that really did too much against us. I think we were still able to like play the comp we wanted. In game 1, we were winning it in, I think, all the lanes, but we got out-rotated a couple times, and they got a couple free kills. And what we realized was that Azir became super high priority over the series. Like, we didn't think that Bjergsen would play that much Azir, and it ended up being really strong. So we had to adapt to that. We banned it, I think, or we took it early, game 3, and then game 4, we banned it. So I think it was adapting to the Azir a little bit earlier. After the nerfs, we didn't really think that Bjergsen would play. We thought they'd play like more of the Lulu type of stuff, but I think it's just getting better at realizing how the team's moving in game, because I think that our comps in game 1 and 2 were fine. I think we could win those games, and we were winning at points. And with those advantages, we just need to be able to just get on the map faster. Like, they were always beating us to Dragon. They were always setting up a minute before, and it would make it really tough for us to walk in. And it was really hard for us to just press our advantages because they were always so quick on setting up for things. So I think we'll rewatch these games. We'll learn exactly like what they did well, and then there were some rotations they made that were poor, and from those we'll learn how we're going to exploit that next time. So if a team is trying to dodge our lane phase by just making rotations and getting out of the lane, we can really punish it, because if they're doing something inefficient, that means that there has to be an objective on the other side of the map or a way that we can abuse it.
All right, so good luck to you on your next one then. And speaking of that match, it is going to be Team Impulse in 3rd place in New York. Tell me how you're going to get ready for that match and how you're going to crush these guys.
I think we're just going to try to play our normal game. I think so far we're 6-3 against Impulse in all the games we played, so we have normally a good record against them. I think we can learn from this series about how to play a more rotational-based game, kind of like CLG did to them and kind of how TSM beat us. And I think that we're a little bit faster on that than Impulse already, so if we're able to execute that, I think that we'll just end up taking the series.
All right, well, Dominic, good luck in that last series. We're going to see you over in New York, and we'll probably see you at Worlds. Good luck on that one. Well, that's going to do it for us here. We're going to send back to the guys in the caster desk.
Thank you very much, Freak. Great interviews on the day. And Dom, thank you for chatting with us as well. Best of luck to both of the teams at Madison Square Garden. It's going to be an amazing event. And it was very interesting to hear there. Obviously, once you're out of the hot seat, once you're out of the game, you have like a bigger picture on it. And you can say, you know, we did this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. That's hard to adapt. But it was interesting to hear that they didn't think Azir was a priority pick all around because of the undefeatedness of both players.
I was actually really surprised with how quickly Dominate was able to articulate the takeaways from the losses in these games. Even in between games, you can tell they were deeply discussing what went wrong in their losses. Yep. And it sounds like they have a lot of stuff to look over, and it actually bodes well for them moving towards Madison Square Garden, I think, moving closer.
It's absolutely not the end of the road, and there's so much League of Legends still to be played. I mean, they carry in their 50 championship points from spring. They can still gain a lot from 3rd place in Madison Square Garden. Even if they don't auto-qualify based on points, they're going to be playing in the regional qualifier tournament the next week. So just crystallizing those takeaways and still going towards improvement can definitely go a long way in making this loss less devastating. Yes, their dream of winning the finals at Madison Square Garden is gone, but the larger dream of making and performing at Worlds is totally still alive.
They have 50 points going into it. They gain more points. It'll be nice for them. So 50 isn't too bad. Team Solo Mid locking themselves in already for that world spot. Definitely feels good to them due to the points of their finishes in the splits. So definitely going to get some good games still. TSM tries to go for another international stage. We'll see who is next. To close out our semifinal coverage, we're going to head over to the analyst desk.
Thank you, gentlemen. Guys, a 3-1 victory there for TSM. They're going to be very happy with that going into Madison Square Garden. But let's remember, I'd like to take a moment to remember the fact that those games were all very close. The first 2 that went in TSM's favor could have gone the other way. So I believe this series was a bit closer than it appears from the outside.
Yeah, people are going to see a 3-1 and they're going to be like, oh, did they get stomped or anything like that? Team Liquid, in all senses, did not get stomped in this series. 2 55-minute games, 53-minute games. absolutely incredible play there where it came down to some late game things that happened. We saw Turtle pick up a really lucky Baron there. So these types of things, if they didn't happen, it could have been a 3-1 the other way.
Absolutely, and especially, I mean, it could have been a 3-0, in fact. Game 1 and Game 2 were absolutely winnable. You saw something that I thought was really interesting. Dominate said in the interview, we didn't realize Azir was so good. Yeah. Which surprised me so much because we knew coming into it, Azir was still very, very strong. The nerfs barely touched him. Bjerg was an amazing Azir player, and then in Game 2 they still didn't care. That felt like a very slow adaptation and a very slow realization.
Well, so he said the analyst desk for about an hour before the show.
Well, he said he didn't realize that it was going to be such a high priority in the series, not that it wasn't a good champion. I do agree, and I think he also noted that they needed to make that realization sooner, after Game 1, not after Game 2. At that point, they did make the pivot too little too late. You've already given away 2 games. You have less safety now.
Yeah, the thing with Azir is you see Azir locked in, you're like, okay, well, here's all the champions I can't play. and
Victor is left.
And
Kog'Maw.
All right, we got a couple of these. Oh well. That's what happens when Azir gets locked in. So it's not only just a very strong champion for a player to control the pace of the game, it also takes a lot off the table for what you can play against it.
And again, we have to remember what's still ahead of both of these teams. We've got a TSM CLG finals that's still ahead of us, and then we've got Team Liquid versus Team Impulse fighting for those championship points, either for the automatic qualifier from points or for better seeding in the Gauntlet. So still so much up for grabs here with just 2 series left. Well, the player that stepped up to have the biggest impact for his team this series, though, was Bjergsen. You can count on certain things in life. The sky is blue, rain is wet, and Bjergsen is going to be Bjergsen. Consistent under pressure, high-level mechanics, and a potential to carry always. All of that allowed him to lead his team to Madison Square Garden for a shot at defending their championship title.
And it's been 2 titles in a row already for TSM. They could get 3 in a row and be pretty much the most dominant LCS team since Fnatic as far as titles in a row goes. This guy was absolutely massive. His Azir in the first 2 games were the highest damage in the game. The Ahri was the highest damage on his team despite a loss. The Lulu was only 2nd place. That's just fine. He's certainly an absolutely amazing mid laner here and someone you've got to respect a lot on the other side of him.
Zyrene, you spoke to just his diversity, being one of the biggest differences between him and the other mid laners, because we talk about, well, Phoenix and Bjergsen both have great Azirs, but when you take that step down, that's where you start to see the separation.
Yeah, it's his versatility and his consistency. This is a player that I would love to have on any team that I ever made because this guy brings a lot to the table, and even when he's shoring up other people's weaknesses, he has the ability to do that and play a lot of different things effectively.
And then leadership on top of all of that. Now we have the rest of our bracket filled in, but there's still a lot to be decided. As mentioned before, Counter Logic Gaming and TSM won their semifinals, which sets us up for a good old-fashioned El Clasico grudge match in the finals next week. Now this stuff just writes itself, folks. Meanwhile, TSM have banked enough championship points to guarantee themselves a spot at this year's World Championship, their 5th consecutive. TSM will play alongside previous champions Fnatic and SK Telecom, as well as the Flash Wolves, LGD Gaming, and AHQ Esports Club. That's going to do it for us today, but there's more league action coming down the pipeline starting on Wednesday with an all-new primetime league at its regular Wednesday time slot. Then the LCS playoffs return on Saturday starting in Stockholm with the battle for 3rd place between the Unicorns of Love and H2K. Following the conclusion of that match, we'll pick up the action from the historic Madison Square Garden in New York City, where Team Liquid and Impulse will face off. That coverage kicks off at 8 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Central European Summer Time.
All right, you put this off long enough. Let me have your pen.
Do I have to give this up? I have to give this up.
You have to give me your pen.
Oh, I feel so naked.
Yes, it's time to face the masses, Dash. We asked all of you at home to send in your questions for our host with the most. And by and large, we mostly got a ton of questions about your magnificent hair. Like this one from Matthew Weiner, 23. How is your hair always so perfect?
I was born this way.
With hair gel.
Yeah, just I can't even get it. I can't even make it do anything else.
It also only grows on the top half, like you're doing a reverse my hairline kind of thing.
No, in all seriousness, every man should own a hair dryer. That's all it takes.
All right. And at Ben McDonald 52 says, if you were a champion in LoL, what would your passive and abilities be?
Holy crap. You're asking me to design a champion in like 5 seconds. Well, let's see. I love running, so it would probably have something to do with that.
So strut, misfortune so far.
Right, yeah. No, I want, some kind of passive
runner, you know?
where I would like the idea of building momentum. I know I'm a long distance runner.
Right.
So like building momentum.
Passive.
So like, or how about something like your passive is as you travel distance in the game, you gain stats. So it literally encourages you to always be moving and roaming. So I'm a jungler too. So this is what
nice.
As I'm moving, I'm gonna gain base stats. So for every X amount of distance I move, I gain 0.1 attack. Whatever.
Yeah.
My Q would be it would be a dash, where
why would your dash be on Q? That's a horrible. Most people want it on W or E.
There's a couple.
I
hate Jax has it.
I hate that. No, that's a leap.
No, but I can't copy Lucian who has a dash on his E, so I'm gonna put my dash on my Q, and it's gonna be something like I come out of the starting block. So it's gonna be like out of the gate or the gun, so I don't know what I would call it, something like that.
Well, we're not gonna.
I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and then my ultimate would be creating a like a dust storm by running so quickly in a circle, and then it would like blind people and do some AoE damage. I think.
Where's the hair references in this kit?
No. The hair doesn't need a reference. It's just perfect.
It's by itself.
It's just perfect the whole time.
We still have more Twitter questions to answer here. So
VO.
@PeteGill18 says, would you rather fight a horse-sized Kobe or 12 duck-sized freaks?
Ooh, that's tough. A horse-sized Kobe would be a little intimidating. I would probably go with 12 duck-sized freaks, mostly because it would allow me to take out all of my frustrations with his punning by just beating the crap out of the 12 little ducks.
Well, also Kobe works out too, so a big horse-sized
A larger Kobe is probably not something I want to go after.
Yeah,
I think the 12 duck-sized freaks.
Yeah. I think that's very intelligent. All right, let's move on to our final question here. @BBoragi. This is Boragi. What's the best part of your job and why?
Ooh, there are so many elements to what make this job incredible. The fact that I get to... Freak's pointing at himself right now. This is ridiculous. No, the answer is not you, Freak. Now, the fact that I get to play and talk about a video game that I love and have played for quite some time is fabulous. But I have to say it's probably the people that I work with. Beyond just the broadcast team, everyone here is great. The people that you don't see, my director's in my ear telling me that I just had a good answer.
Job security.
Job security. No. The fact that I get to work with some amazing people who are all very passionate about what they do, both on the broadcast team and throughout the rest of Riot. Everybody here wants to make a fabulous game for us and for you, and I'm constantly challenged. That would have to be it. Yeah. Oh, well now that's me. That's my line. It's back to me. Give it back. Enough of that. Reading my prompter. All right, now as we sign off, we want to apologize because some of you may have noticed we've been experiencing some glitching in our show today. Our production team is aware of the issue and are working hard to fix it. In the meantime, just bear with us, please. So on behalf of the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching and good night.